Now, after understanding the difference between an internal and external audit, let us talk about these functions from a career perspective. And I've listed some key points which we can expand on these points as we talk about these functions from a career perspective. First one is the skill and educational background. So from a skill and educational background perspective, these functions are pretty much similar for both related degrees in finance or technology, certifications like CPA, CISA. If you're focused on the IT audit side of the house, you can have a CISA. More on the financial side of the house, you can have a CPA. So they're pretty much similar when it comes to skill and educational background requirements. The key difference is in the focus area and experience. Internal audit is very broad, covering all aspects of business like we discussed here in terms of the key difference. So you get to work with many different teams across business as part of the internal audit team. While external audit is heavily focused on all aspects of financial assurance, so interactions are limited to relevant financial and technology teams in that specific domain. So from a focus area and experience point of view, internal audit is very broad, covering all aspects of business, while external audit for the most part is heavily focused on financial assurance. The third point is around the overall exposure and interaction with regulators. So internal audit is less likely to interact with regulators compared to external auditors who will be doing it on a regular basis, because that's where regulatory governance is much more compared to internal audits. Fourth point is around oversight, which is more around very likely that external audit teams will or may review the work performed by an internal audit team, especially in the case where external audit is placing reliance on any internal audit's work. So they can have an oversight on what internal audit is doing for those specific instances, while the other way around is not true. That brings us to the final point, which is specialization. So it all depends on what one likes, right? When you talk about from a career perspective, specialization in one given area of financial controls as part of external audit, or more broader risk and audit experience as part of an internal audit. So when it comes from a career perspective, when you talk about specialization, it's more about is your preference to specialize in one given area of financial and accounting controls, or you would like to have more broad risk and audit exposure as part of an internal audit group.